back, and this time the drama is real. If you thought reality TV had twists, wait till you hear the latest saga of US Vice President JD Vance. The episode's headline: Usha Vance and her mysteriously missing wedding ring. On November 19th, paparazzi caught Usha without her ring, strolling in North Carolina with First Lady Melania Trump. An image that set rumor mills ablaze faster than you can say missing jewelry.
This is the equivalent of seeing a basketball player run out onto the floor for a game and he just happened to forget that he didn't have his jersey on. She is only known for being the wife of a sitting vice president, a dignitary. She's not known for anything else. This was done on purpose. I'll be honest with you, this is likely the smartest move for Usha. It was either divorce or cancer. But either way, within the next 3 years, she would be out of the picture. The rise of Erika Kirk Vance is already in motion. And when it comes to these people and these agendas, there's no reverse button and there's no off switch. There's no stop. It's going to keep going. Even if people like myself start talking about it in advance, 3 years from now, you're going to think I'm some kind of savant. Back when I did the calculations for everybody and I was able to predict when we would see our first football player die on the field after the injections, because when the campaign ended, December 10th, 2021, when Biden said where his patients are wearing thin, it's the same thing. You can literally pre-plan and predict the things are in motion. Because if this is the Truman Show and season 7 is going to start and they wrote out Truman, which was Charlie Kirk, they replaced his character at the end of season 6. The new Truman, the new show that's going to be built, Truman will be played by JD Vance, and Erika Kirk Vance will continue her role as his wife. She will keep the last name Kirk, and it will be a hyphenated Vance. This is already predicted. This is already scheduled, and there is no getting away from it. So kudos to Usha. Hopefully they don't still throw in the cancer aspect so that she doesn't talk too much. But you got to think about it. They went over 10 years. It was an interracial, interfaith marriage, which was already problematic. To move into this position of prominence with this majority evangelical voting class, which would encompass Charlie Kirk's audience and his influence, you're going to want to see a couple that matches. You're going to want to see a more traditional couple. It's not necessarily the racial part that Usha is brown. That's not really the issue. The issue is she doesn't believe in Jesus. And he's publicly announcing he wants her to convert. Those are conversations that are between 3 people. You, your pastor, your wife. There was no need to publicly announce that on a stage. What that was doing was just putting this in motion, putting it out there. And that's how you know this whole thing has already began and there's really no turning back. Charlie, when Charlie passed away, he was on the verge of completely turning his audience against the Zionists. One or two more stage appearances speaking about the genocides and speaking to the morality and the beliefs as Christians that we don't believe in these things would have pretty much removed the Israel dominance over the Kirk's audience. They removed him before he could do that. So now the last name still carries the influence over the whole TPUSA audience. As we know it, TPUSA has been dissolved. It's over. What they're doing now is infighting over who's going to have access to the, $180 million funds that it's worth. There will be no new income because there's no new Charlie. Even that kid they were going to try to replace Charlie with, he's going to just seem like a knockoff. Remember, Charlie Kirk was first in line and best dressed. You're not going to be able to replace him. He was an anomaly. He was a walking thesaurus. I mean, he was literally good at everything. His brain was wired. He was witty. He was fast. He was smart, charismatic. He was our future president. You're not going to just be able to replace him that fast or that easy. Their whole TPUSA staff was nothing without Kirk. That's over. So the infighting now is just about who's going to control the money. And that's why the McCoys are making their move, because for one thing, there's two of them, two men. To threaten and get rid of two men who know too much is not going to be as easy. One person having an accident will seem just like a windfall of bad luck. If they both go down, then people are going to notice that there was a pattern. And they're not going to be able to do that. But remember, even if they didn't specifically they didn't pull the trigger against Charlie, they knew where to put him. They walked him into a trap. The team from Israel that Candace has been reporting on, the same team that was hired to also go after her. Because remember, Mossad does assassinations for breakfast. It's what they do. They go around the world. They literally made a movie called Munich that pretty much glorified the fact that they do non-judicial hits and executions without a jury around the world whenever they want to, ever since the early 70s. And there's nothing you can do about it. People find Mossad agents that have been caught. People find their victims, and you don't know the wiser. So for people to even doubt Candace, I seen Tim Pool speaking about it, but I'm like, Tim, the same people that are saying Candace is making this up about having a hit after her are the same people that said you are swatting yourself for attention and clicks. I think that's bullshit. You should too. This is a group that is known for literally executing any and everyone that they don't like. They literally, in front of the world, have been committing a open-air genocide for over 2 years. We're watching all the videos on X. Luckily, Musk gave us permission, but we would have had no insight. So let's not hold any quarrels about who we're dealing with. Charlie was just another pawn, another piece. Now, Erika Kirk was their focus. Remember, they moved her from the United States, being in beauty pageants with Donald Trump, magically to Romania. She was there for years. And her nonprofit, the Romanian Angels, were accused of trafficking orphans to military members of the U.S. military. It was known that there was an actual brothel on the base. And the men that were murdered by another, I believe it was a Romanian soldier who could not take it anymore, listening to the GIs abuse these children. And he took out his service weapon and he murdered them. And he went to trial as well. And then they reassigned Erika Kirk from Romania back to the Hamptons, from the Hamptons to Phoenix, Arizona, to be an intern for some relatively unknown guy named Charlie Kirk, who was getting a little bit too close with his co-host, a woman by the name of Candace Owens. Yes, she was sent there as an assignment. Charlie was her assignment to separate Charlie from Candace. Erika Kirk, became Charlie's handler. And she played her position. Remember, none of us ever seen her face or knew her name until the day Charlie passed away. That was for a reason. The reason she's not involved in all the infighting from TPUSA is because she's been reassigned. She has bigger fish to fry. Erika Kirk is slated now to be our next First Lady. People say Melania is a handler for Trump in the White House. Well, when Trump leaves, who's going to be our next president's handler? They already have the person in place. There's no Democrat that's going to win, that's going to have a handler and all. You can't let things get out of control. And with the Zionists losing so much ground to the globalists, they're going to have to make sure they at least get her in there. So we're watching right now the rise of Erika Kirk Vance. And again, this is probably one of the best things for Usha, because it was either this or she comes down with cancer, and then Vance, JD, and Erika will trauma bond into a love, into a marriage in front of the country, in front of the world before the election. Because we can't just have a bachelor vice president that's trying to be the president. So that trauma would have bonded them into the presidency. So hopefully that's not necessary. She can just make a clean getaway with a divorce. But knowing how these people love death and they love trauma and tragedy, I mean, it can still happen.
A spokesperson clarified that Usha, mother of three, sometimes forgets her ring due to daily chores. A statement that may be factual but failed to quieten the rumors. The internet still screamed, "Is JD sleeping on the couch?"
Women like this have nannies, they have housekeepers. I have a nanny, I have a housekeeper. They're not doing daily chores and giving kids baths. They're not regular housewives, yada, yada, yada. Again, this is the equivalent of a football player running out onto the field without his helmet, with his team's brand on it. And he's just out there wearing a beanie. And they're like, "Where's your helmet?" He's like, "Oh, I forgot. Your whole claim to fame as being a pro football player is you're representing your team. You have your helmet, your jersey." That's her helmet. That's her jersey, that ring. That's how they know she's married to the second most powerful man in the country. She didn't just conveniently forget it. It was a message.
Why the couch? While apparently that's code for trouble in paradise. It also gave an extra life to the running gags about a supposed third character, Erika Kirk. Erika's viral hug clad in leather pants with JD Vance last month that fueled wild and uncomfortable speculations over a possible affair kindling between the two.
The reason I know this whole situation with Usha is authentic is because you can tell Erika Kirk is fake because for a wife, she was always happy. Wives are never happy. Women are miserable. Women like turmoil. They like anger. They like feeling sad. Charlie was a very stable man, committed. Women don't like that. They hate that historically. Usha is never happy. She's always has a frown on her face. She's never really seems like a nice person. She is a normal, regular woman. Erika is always excited to see Charlie come home like his pet because that's her job. That's the job. You're an actress. But when you're a woman, you're not being paid and it's just your life to be a wife. What's there to be too excited about? You've already had sex with the guy. He's not George Clooney. So what are you excited about? Usha is actually a regular woman. Erika Kirk is an actress. Now, for men sometimes, and this happens with men that are being set up. If you know anybody who's a criminal, a drug dealer, another competing drug dealer, I meet a beautiful woman and say, "Look, I'm going to pay you to get on him. He hangs out at this poker place. He goes to this bar. He hangs out at this club. This is my enemy. I need you to just be around and let him come talk to you based on your looks." And next thing you know, this big sloppy drug dealer is in your ear and you're receptive. Now, he should have already thought to himself, this woman is way out of my league. Why is she talking to me? But if you're offering her money, you're maybe thinking, maybe I'm just lucky. Maybe God just threw her in my lap. You don't even want to consider that there was a plan, an agenda put together to get you, to go after you long in advance. We don't want to believe that we're being tricked. Charlie Kirk, I'm pretty sure eventually had his suspicions because Erika was acting too much like the wife in the Truman Show, reading ads. And he's like, who are you talking to? She's literally just standing there smiling and like, "Oh my God, I can't even sit here. You're too amazing." And he's like, "Erika, we're in the car alone. Why are you still keeping up this role? What are you doing? There's no way I'm that goddamn cool." It gets suspicious. If JD is probably thinking to himself, this little hot blonde, he's been with this Indian older woman for over 10 years now. Now he has this young, hot blonde, used to be a beauty queen that worked in Trump's circle when he was doing the beauty pageant rings. And now she's coming on to him. Could be because of his status, but he's thinking maybe I just got lucky. Maybe, because what happened to Charlie is the best thing for me to do. Because historically, that's how it used to be. If you and your best friend went to war and one of you guys got shot and while you were bleeding out, you would ask your brother in arms, "Please take care of my wife. Please go back, take care of my." And guess what? you would marry your brother-in-arm's wife and you would be her man because she would need someone to protect her, to provide for her. That was traditionally how it would go anyway. That's why they keep telling you, man, Charlie and JD were best friends. And they're already painting the picture for you. None of this stuff is rocket science. People keep asking me, Rico, how do you know all these things? Because I'm spot on for a lot. Even before the scamdemic, I saved everybody I could to tell them ahead of time, this is bullshit. And I explained to them why in detail. But I was able to figure things out long before that too. So this right here, it's not very complicated, but it's just something that needs to be discussed and put on the internet for historical records so we can come back and reference it at a later date.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do.
You're watching the rise of Erika Kirk Vance. She's not going to drop the last name. She's never going to be Erika Vance. She will be Erika Kirk Vance. And JD Vance looks like a jackass right here. He looks like a failed passport brother. Being a guy with a passport, I'm not saying I'm a passport bro per se, but JD would be kicked out of my circle of friends, and this picture would have him removed from our group chat where we talk about all the nasty things that we like to do when we're partying and traveling, etc. What the hell is JD Vance doing in this picture? He looks like some kind of jackass.
It all started when JD expressed hope that Usha, a devout Hindu, might embrace the Christian faith someday.
Do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that.
That was one of the most fucked up things you could have said, JD. Why would you say that unless you're purposely trying to torpedo your marriage? That's literally something that's like talking about what goes on in your bedroom. People don't want to talk about two things, especially during anything important. You don't want to talk about politics and you don't want to talk about religion. Why are you bringing this up on a public stage? And it's not like you're having a conversation with her. You're talking to a person in the audience about how you can't get your wife to convert. That is one of the most I would have rather you sat up there and talked about how Usha is incontinent and must drink prune juice because she can't poop on her own. I could have related to that more than you bringing up the fact that she doesn't want to convert. And that's usually a deal breaker. This is already over. If him and Erika aren't already together, at least a couple of days a week, just kind of breaking this in, I'd be shocked. But it's already started. That's why Usha is already gone. She's already probably living alone. They don't live together. And Erika Kirk Vance is, and I don't even know if Charlie even realized he's being used. I mean, not Charlie, if JD is being used, but you know what? Some men, when it comes to women, we turn full retard. The smartest men on earth, a pretty woman come around and you turn into radio. And that's unfortunately the reason why women are so powerful. I'm watching body cam footage, right? Every day. I'm doing these videos. It's like 90-something% women being arrested for craziness. But we never knew this because there weren't body cams. I'm starting to think that the fall of Rome, ancient Greece, the Egyptians, Atlantis. I'm starting to think that every dominant society in the world eventually was taken down by women. It seems like it.
Because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way.
The VP's office had then swiftly downplayed the drama.
Oh, really? You hope your wife actually decides to see it that way? Okay, but what would make more sense than getting a wife that's already smothered in Christian values? And who's more smothered in Christian values than the recently single widow of Charlie Kirk? She's drenched in Christianity. Okay, and she sneezes. Jesus says, bless you out of her nose. She's already there. So exactly what you're saying you want from your wife is exactly what Erika Kirk has been for years now. But you guys want to argue with me that this isn't already pre-planned and Erika Kirk Vance is not already a thing. I don't know why you're even referring to her as Erika Kirk. You refer to her going forward as Erika Kirk Vance, but just remember where you heard it first.
Assuring everyone that this was just one man's wish and insisting everything in the Vance house was perfectly interfaith and perfectly fine. But now, with Usha's latest Ringless outing, the rumor mills are working overtime.
She's not just ringless. Look at her hands. Her nails aren't done. She's gray. She's wrinkled. Which women get old. It happens. Men is different for us. We don't age from 33 till I would say 66. Then all of a sudden we're the guy. You're the old guy. But in between then, you're still him. You can take care. You can work out, take care of yourself. You can still be that guy. With women, not so much. Past 34, it's a wrap. So she's pretty much given up. And then all of a sudden you get this hot blonde with blonde highlights and hair extensions, nails, no wrinkles, smooth face, blue eyes. And you think Usha Vance stands a snowball's chance in the mouth of one of those dragons from Game of Thrones? You're insane. You're insane. And Usha just pretty much, you can tell she been gave up on trying to look good. And you know what that means? There's no more sex in the house either. They probably haven't had sex in years. Do those hands look like a woman that's the gok? Those are not gok mitts. Those are not. Those are the hands that tell you, no. I have a headache. I don't feel good. I'm sick. And, that's exactly what this is. So it was already, this was written. It's a wrap. It's a done deal. The Erika Kirk Vance is going to happen whether we want it to or not.
Social media is abuzz. Whispers of couch trouble and Erika Kirk memes are everywhere. Is the Vance household witnessing a pati patni or wo moment?
Yeah. Again, this is not something that's super complicated or difficult to believe. I mean, we all see the writing on the wall. It would be the natural course of events, even if it wasn't being controlled and scripted, But this is where we are today. We're watching the rise of Erika Kirk Vance. She's not worried about that 180 million that they're trying to fight over when it comes to the TPUSA funds. She's going to let Rob and those other guys fight it out and duke it out over that. She's been reassigned, and you can tell she's being reassigned. She's no longer even present or even involved in any of the infighting. She has bigger fish to fry. She has a new assignment, which is to become the next First Lady of these United States, of the 48th president. Do me a favor, if you agree or disagree, just like the page, like the channel, The Single Boyfriend or Right-Wing Rico. Both are on YouTube, but we're on X, Twitch, Kick. We're on all the platforms. So wherever you're following, please like the video, leave a comment. I'll read over them, and I'll be back in about 20 minutes with another episode, and we'll be back on live, and we'll get back to it. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.